As a minimalist, I'm really careful to what I bring into my home and what I own. So today I am going to share a few things with you that I don't own, that I think are quite normal to own. If you're new here, my name is Leah and I'm uploading videos twice a week about minimalism and sustainable living. So if you're interested in these topics and want to see future videos, please subscribe to my channel. And now let's get started. First, let me add a disclaimer. These are things that I choose to not have in my possessions right now. So if you have these items, I really don't want to make you feel bad or think that you should get rid of them or anything like that. I just want to share things with you that I don't need in my life right now. So the first thing I don't own is a TV. I own a laptop computer and that is everything I need to watch shows and things online. So a TV is really unnecessary for me at the moment. The second thing I don't own is sunglasses. I don't like sunglasses and maybe I'm squeezing my eyes and maybe I'm getting wrinkly skin around them in a few years, but actually I don't really care. Because I really hate caring for these sunglasses, making sure they don't break. Another thing I don't have is heels. I only own 3 pairs of shoes and I'm pretty happy with them, and heels are just something that doesn't feel comfortable when I'm wearing them. And I don't think they are really practical, so I choose to not own heels. Another thing I don't own is a classical purse. I own a backpack, but that's it. I own one backpack for every day and traveling, and so a purse or any kind of other bag is not necessary. I own tote bags to go grocery shopping, but no classical purse. Another thing I don't own is makeup. I don't put makeup on, so I don't see any reason to own any. So I don't own makeup, and I also don't own any like skincare, fancy hair care or products or anything like that. I own one hair soap and that's everything I need for my hair. For my face I just use water and it works okay, I think. At least it works good enough so that I don't want to purchase something to put on my face, and that's where I am right now. Another thing I don't own is a car. And I think while this is pretty normal for a lot of people, this is also pretty unusual for a lot of other people. In Europe, you really don't need a car if you live in a big city like I do. And so it just makes sense also from a sustainable perspective to not own a car. And maybe I will own a car in the future when I decide to travel around the world with a van or something like that. But right now I choose to not own a car because I don't need it for my life. Another thing I don't own is a suitcase. I own that backpack I just mentioned, and that is for traveling, so I really don't need an extra suitcase. Another thing I don't own is books. And now don't get me wrong, I really like to read and I do read books, but usually when I get them, I read them and then I give them away to somebody else, or I borrow them from somebody, or I pick them up at an open bookshelf where everybody can like leave and take books they want and don't need anymore. So that's the concept I am using, and just like that I don't need to have any hard copies of any books, and I still can read when I want. What I also don't own is perfume, and I think there are a lot of people who don't own perfume, but there are also a lot of people who do own perfume, but I choose to not own perfume. What I also don't own is a watch, and I have been thinking a lot about that, because when I don't own a watch, I use my phone to check what time it is, and using my phone as a watch is, yeah, I don't know if it's really healthy or if it's really good for me, because then I check the time and I check everything else and then I spend a few minutes on the phone. I mean, not every time, but that can happen. So by owning a watch instead of a phone, I could maybe cut down on like phone time, and maybe it would be good for me. But on the other hand, I would have to have an extra item, maybe something that has a battery even, and care for it, look that I don't lose it, take it off when I shower. And so for right now, I've decided to not own a watch. Another thing I don't own in my wardrobe is leggings. I have owned leggings before, but they don't have pockets most of the time, and that's actually what is putting me off when like thinking about buying leggings again. So I choose to not have leggings because they are just not so practical. What I also don't own is dressy clothes. So most of the time I also don't need dressy clothes, and I really don't know, maybe in the future I will own dressy clothes again, or maybe if I'm working at the place where I need certain clothes, of course I will have these. But right now, at the moment, I don't need anything else than my casual clothes I wear all the time, and so I choose to only have these. And for like birthdays or something like that, I do have clothes that I can wear. But if I would go to a wedding, I would have to get a new piece of clothing, and I would try to get it secondhand, borrow it from somebody, or actually rent it, because I've heard that that's an option that's like becoming more and more accessible. Another thing I don't own is pajamas. I just sleep in my underwear, so I don't need pajamas. And then of course there are a lot of other things I don't own, but I think that are pretty normal. Like, I don't own an apartment or a house at the moment, but you don't need that in Europe because renting is quite normal, and I wouldn't want to really settle down, so I don't think it makes sense for me right now to trying to buy an apartment or a house. I think in my household there are so many things I don't own, but since everybody's different, I just chose to list the things that I think a lot of people do have or consider to be normal having, and actually I don't know, that was just what I thought of. So let me know if there are things that you don't own. Maybe you don't own things that I do own, or let me know any other things you don't own that you think are pretty normal to own. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!